Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of The Way I See It. My name is Chris. Today, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about software engineering and like what is software engineering. You know, and people, I think that buzzword goes around a lot. You know, when I first started working in software engineering, I was actually just a web developer who worked on some companies' websites where they actually had, some databases, they had some design apps, and they had some graphic design people to put things together, and we would just throw these things together. When you needed help for things, you would Google it. It wasn't until maybe I would say 2, 3 years after the iPhone came out where things started picking up and we started getting this software engineering. So I think 2009 would probably be around there, is where software engineering became the term that I heard more about, and having a front end developer, a back end developer, midware, all these different terms. And if you want to get into these things, how would you get into it? Well, for me, I want to go ahead and talk about the fact that software engineering is a term where you are usually a person that is going to create software, create applications that are not necessarily hardware. You're creating the instructions inside the product, so hardware would be the iPhone, software would be the code or the applications in the iPhone. The software is like your notes app, your mail app, if you have an iPhone, or right now you're probably using YouTube to watch it. So like your YouTube app would be the software. And because we are heavily using the internet, web development is always going to be predominant, meaning that you're going to need to utilize a programming language called JavaScript, which is pretty much what is the essence of how clients and servers communicate across the internet. So client JavaScript is really good at communicating with different servers. It's fast, it's light. It also has a little bit of issues when it comes down to organization and readability for the developer. So there's another type of like language called TypeScript, which pretty much is a superset of JavaScript, meaning that you write TypeScript and then it will basically compile or transpile down into JavaScript. So your code can be readable for the user, for the developer, and easier to maintain. But then when it's time for it to be used on your phone or on your web browser or on your computer or your watch, you'll see the computer will be able to quickly get it done because it'll be able to read this particular read the code that's been transpiled or converted into JavaScript. So how do you go about doing this? This is like, first, like how much, this is all so crazy to me. I have no idea on how to, like, what does this actually mean to me? Well, I think software engineering is a great place to actually talk about problem solving, because that's where it really is. After a while, I started to look at the code as puzzles, things that you were missing, and how to efficiently get things to get done quickly. For instance, you would want to make sure that, if you're opening up your, let's say, what would be really great so when you're going on YouTube and you are looking for some videos, if you go ahead and you have a search query that you come in saying, I'm looking for funny videos about cats, you would probably get a results of all of these particular different cat videos that are probably sorted by time, length, popularity, your location, where you are in the world, and all those things probably have like millions and millions of lines of code coming from other places that helps generate those information. So when it comes down to building an application, you may want to start thinking about what is that overall. What type of application is that? It's a search app. So you search for information, you get results, and then you play it on your show, on your videos, or on your screen or your phone, whatever. And when it comes down to engineering, you're creating so you have to kind of like have like a model. So if you remember my system design modeling my system design video, I was kind of like talking about having a system design mindset is crucial for everything that we do. We need to understand how things are actually encapsulated into each other. So software engineering, I think that is a great thing. If you basically start learning it, you'll understand on like your mindset for building things in procedural pieces, understanding on like how to go from one step to the next step and then talk about that. You need to be able to convey your information properly with speech and with drawing on a board, because you have to sometimes speak with other people. Software is not necessarily something that you don't necessarily need to be like a really big computer science fundamentalist, but you might want to you might want to go ahead and start paying attention to the basic concepts of programming. So because it isn't really about code, and it's not all about about like just math. It goes hand in hand. So there's a few books that I can kind of recommend that can help you to kind of understand about like learning different things. One is Algorithms to Live By. I read this book a while ago, and I really liked on how they laid out everything on in like a storybook form, giving you an understanding about like there's certain concepts about how to quickly get somebody to go from one place to another based on these algorithms that are classical. Like the travel. There's a basically there is a video called, no, there's an algorithm called the traveling salesman. I think that's what it's where it's basically like if the traveling salesman had to go to several different points on a map somehow, how many times could you go to all of these maps without having to go back? So you would want to basically get that traveling salesman to basically take the shortest route or the shortest route to each point. And this is actually was pretty cool. They even talked about how long should you wait until you actually look for a parking space. You stop looking for a parking space. If you're basically living somewhere and it's a parking space, that's it was something like 30%. I think that's what it was. Like the thing about it is it's like I feel that you have to kind of take the information that you actually want to learn, and you have to like easily lean into it slowly, tricking your mind that you want to do this for the rest of your life, but you don't want your mind to keep giving you something else to do. And that's the second book I was talking about, which is it's called Deep Work, which is a book basically written by Cal Newport. I believe he's a theoretical computer scientist who talks about us having to think deeper, and how this is probably going to be important because we're moving into a knowledge working setting where all of the jobs, the way I'm looking at it is that a lot of jobs are going to be that are manual jobs, like opening boxes, creating boxes, shipping products, are all going to be given to AI, and the people are going to have to focus on learning. And we have all the tools we actually need to do those things. So Cal Newport, his book is kind of, I would say it's a little bit of like a intermediate read. It's not really like I enjoyed reading the Algorithms to Live By book because they kind of like talked about things in a very storybook manner. Where the ideas that they talked about were very descriptive and entertaining. And another one was Dataclysm, and that's an older book which kind of talked about how the rise of Twitter and the people who wrote Plenty of Fish, who wrote the company that came up with Plenty of Fish, POF is like a dating app, talked about how data was able to find out more things about other people and like where people are, what they actually want, and they kind of wrote it in a nice way where it was interesting too. So those three books, Dataclysm, Algorithms to Live By, and Deep Work, those are three books that I kind of recommend for people to kind of like sit down and listen to if you're interested in getting into software development. Software development is something I feel like everybody can do to some degree, and that everybody kind of already does it to some degree, meaning that being able to carry out instructions to complete some sort of task. We all have that way we talk to people, the way we start writing, the way we start homework, the way we sleep, the way our routines every single day. And to just top off that, there's actually like I'm gonna do this